What's up, y'all? Episode 16, Gearbox, clutch install, rear diff. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Wix and we are carrying on with this GC8 Coupe STI build, and in this episode we will be covering three things, one of them being what's inside my gearbox. I haven't got any footage, but I have got some photos, so I will upload those to the video. And it's not an ultimate gearbox, but it's better than standard, so once you see the photos it'll make sense. Just while I'm at it, as you can see, the engine bay is pretty much ready for my engine. As well as painting the engine bay, I decided to pull my subframe out and give everything pretty much a good cleanup. So you can see it's nice and shiny, almost looks new, and I pretty much gave everything a cleanup and a bit of a paint. So reason for that is, you know, when it goes for a waff, a warrant of fitness here in New Zealand, hopefully when the mechanic looks up he can see that, yep, what's up y'all, my name is Wix, which gives 15 the message that what's inside the engine must look after his car. Let's go, and not just abuse it, even though that's the plan to. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. So the first one is the gearbox. The other thing I'll be covering in this episode is installing my new clutch. And if I haven't mentioned it before, I have got the Xtreme twin plate. So it's the 200mm, and I think this is a spring version. I think so. You have a spring or a rigid. I decided to go with the spring because I wanted it pretty nice to drive, or as nice as I could get it. So I'm going to be going through that, so I'll need to open all that up to get the flywheel onto the engine. And the last bit, which I thought I'd cover, is because the car's in a bit of a state, I actually thought it wouldn't take much, but it ended up being a bit of a C word to get out. But I thought I'd drain my diff, pull my rear diff out. I know there's some goodies back in the gearbox. While I'm at it, I just wanted to open this up to see if there was any good stuff inside this. So I've just finished draining most of it, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the rear cover off and cross my fingers that I see nice shiny silver awesome stuff. Yeah, I've got no idea, but let's go. Alright, and there we have it. Now, to be honest, I have no idea what I'm looking at, but I'm going to try and find out. Now, I've been told to look for some sort of numbers on here, so just rolling it around to see what's up. But no, I've got no idea. I don't even know where the numbers should be. I don't know too much about rear diffs, but let me place everybody on hold and I'll come back to it. Okay, so I had to phone a friend, and still not too sure what it is, but what we are positive on is that it is a LSD diff from the plates inside there. So we do know it is some sort of LSD. I'm not sure if it's because I'm new to this type of WRX, the STI Type R Coupe. So we're running the R180 gear, and this gearbox and this setup did come with the DCCD control mechanism, where you can adjust the whether it's a lock diff or open it up a little bit. So I'm not sure if this is the standard diff that comes in that setup, or I remember when I first bought this car, it came with a folder of tons of receipts, and some of the photos and papers, I might show it on the video, that came in the folder were bits and pieces and diagrams and photos of a dog box. I thought I had a dog box, but I don't. That's why I opened it up. There's no mention of what's in the rear diff, so what I'm going to try and go and do to find out, because I just want to see if I can find out, so I'm going to count the teeth on this cog here and see if that'll help me try and locate or identify exactly what's inside this diff. And if you already know straight away, just type it in the comments. I probably won't find anything, so yeah, for those of you who do know, there are some markings on it. There's a yellow dot, and then I'm guessing that's a number 2. Get the right light on that. So maybe yellow dot, 1 tooth, 2 tooth, but that's not right because it goes 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's a number 4. So no idea what these numbers mean. Yellow dot, number 2, and the number 4. Is that factory stuff, or has someone written that on for a reason? Anyway, I'm gonna go away and have a Google right now before I drop my camera in this oil. So I had a bit of a Google, and I didn't have any luck finding out what was in it, but I'm going to go with that it's just a factory STI rear diff. I'm happy that it's a R180 STI setup, and I'm just going to take a wild guess and just say that those come with a factory LSD diff in them, so a little bit tougher than the standard WRX diff. Was hoping that there would have been some other magical stuff in there like I found in the front in the gearbox, but happy that I've got a good diff. Everything looks like it's in good shape, so what I'm going to do is chuck the cover back on, and while I'm at it, I'll give it a bit of a clean up as well. But yeah, I thought while the car was pretty much there, I'll pull it off and see what's inside, and now I know exactly. I think that was the only piece I didn't know what was inside, so now I can tick that off the list. Cover on, clean it up, and if I get time tomorrow, I will chuck it back on the car. And then also tomorrow, because I'm bloody knackered now, I will get this onto the engine. The annoying thing about an engine stand is you can't put a clutch on it, so I've got to put it back on the engine crane, spin the engine around so I can get the clutch all bolted up. And then once I've done that, that engine is pretty much ready to dump inside there. Yeah, and then to finish this episode off, I will share those photos that I've still got of, I think I've got a video that I might have sent the boys as well. I'll see if I can chuck that in, of the goodies that I've got inside my gearbox. So here's to another day. So today is a new day. I've got the engine back on the engine hoist. and it's not sitting on the extractors, it's pretty much just lightly sitting on those boxes just to hold it steady while I install the clutch, which is pretty much all ready to go. So first of all, flywheel on, I'll bolt that up. I've got some Loctite sitting up there that I'll chuck on those bolts. I probably need to find the right torque setting, which will be in the installation, and then it's chucking all the rings and the clutches on, and finally bolting the plate on with those bolts. Xtreme sends a pretty flash clutch alignment tool. I know I've made one in the past with an old gearbox, just chopping off the this part off an old gearbox, works perfect. But I'll use this one, it's nice and flash. Bearing to put on, which will go in on the gearbox, and then this part here is the bracket that converts it to a, oh man, I always get confused, a push type I think it is. And also comes with this little bracket that I think I screw to the clutch fork, because I need to reverse my slave cylinder and it's slightly off alignment, so this bolts to that and then aligns this thing up a little bit better. But yeah, for now let's get cracking, and first of all bolt this flywheel on.
Am I pushing down?
So is it turning? Is it
Yeah,
one? Yeah.
turning.
So you turn the opposite, which is which way up.
Up.
And you want it on the other side, so you can just leave it down. Just that's all I need. Oh, but there's 9 of them still.
Sitting for half an hour. We need to go.
Okay, so I'm not sure if my camera malfunctioned while I was putting this on, but flywheel's on, got the bolts on, flywheel bolts on. This is the Loctite that I use, which you're meant to use on flywheel bolts. Just a little bit of that on each bolt. I have torqued this down to 75, or just over 75 Newton meters. So yeah, happy with that. That part's all done. So next is I will put that clutch alignment tool in the middle. I might just straighten it up because I'm a bit weird like that, and then I'll start getting the clutch on, and then I will bolt the plate on, and that'll be the clutch done. Hopefully the camera doesn't muck out again. So before I chuck it on, I thought I'd just go over what's inside a twin plate if you've never seen one. So these are like the clutch plates. I don't even know the proper names of them. Number 2. Friction discs. Alright, so that's the one closest to the flywheel. Then it goes on this coggy looking thing, which is the number 4 sprung hub. So I guess this is the spring hubs that you can, the two options, there's a spring one and then there's a rigid one, which is a lot harder to drive, but it's either in or out. So you'll notice on the center there it's got a nog, an extra nog on it. So that means once you put it in one way, the friction disc gets stuck on it and it won't actually come all the way through. And then you go what am I looking at? Number 3 is the intermediate plate that goes on. There's another friction disc that'll go on, and then there's the top disc, which is number 6, which is the pressure plate. Is that right? Yep. And then number 7 is just the alloy cover, and then it goes like that. So that's pretty much, yeah. So twin plate, meaning there's two friction discs, and those of you who know, when you push the clutch in, it does make a jingle bell noise, and that's it, rattling against these plates, and that's about it. So to anyone else, it sounds like the car's broken, but we all know it's awesome when you hear that noise. Alright, so just pulled out the clutch alignment tool And so yeah, awesome. Yeah, so those are the plates that jingle around when you push the clutch in. And yeah, to be honest, it does sound like it's broken. But yeah, all good. Let's go and get that. I've got to find my clutch fork somewhere, so I can put this bearing on in the gearbox. So I'll just go and do that. Alright, so just putting the clutch fork back in with the input shaft to hold it in place. Just grease the inside of that, and also the whole bar, whatever you call this. And then running our hands. Let's pull that rubber out. That got him.
What we do here is go back.
So that's all in there. And you'll see that there's this part here. So that's the extra bit that Xtreme send with the twin plate. And it's just bolted on because that's where the new bracket's going to go. So I'll put that boot on properly and put the cap back over where that input shaft went, and then I'll come back and put the clutch bearing on. Yes, welcome back. Lost some footage, but basically I managed to put the clutch fork in and put the bearing on. I wasn't able to put the big bracket on that'll hold, that clips onto the slave cylinder and the clutch fork, because when I went to go put my slave cylinder on, I noticed that my boot has got a bit of a hole in it, so I need to replace that. But then I thought, one of the boys suggested that I might as well just get a brand new slave cylinder as well. So I've ordered one of those, so I'm just waiting for that to turn up, and then I'll chuck that in, but I'll just chuck it on another video. So that's that part. So now it's time for the gearbox. I remember when I first bought this car, it came with a folder of receipts and dyno results, and yeah, loads of receipts. A lot of money was spent on this build before I had it, and amongst that was a couple of papers that had pictures of dog gear sets on it, and also numbers that were handwritten on the back. And the time I was looking at it, I was having a few beers with my mate Norman, and got excited that I possibly could have a dog box in this STI. Another reason that sort of kind of made me think there's something special inside this gearbox is when I did drive it, it made a real winding noise when you were going down the road. So there's only two reasons that can happen. One, you've got some wicked gear inside your gearbox, or two, it's stuffed. So It's a 50-50. Either it was going to be good news or bad news, and the only way to really know is to open it up and see what's inside. So I've done that, and at the time that I did open it up, I didn't really count on, or I didn't think I was going to do a YouTube channel, but I managed to grab some old photos. So here's some of those photos here. This has the look that I was hoping to see when I opened up my rear diff. It's nice silvery alloy type color, which is a good indication that most of the time that means you've got some aftermarket gear in there. So if we have a look a little bit closer, you can see if we go from right to left, I think, so that's first gear. And then the small one next to it is reverse, and then it goes 2, 3, 4, and 5 is on the outside. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. I'm no expert, but after talking with a few of the boys, I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. So if we go back to first gear, we'll notice that those cogs, or those little notches on the gears, they're quite straight. So that's known as a straight cut gear. And that's the sort of stuff that you can expect to see inside of a dog box. The only reason why mine is not a dog box is that, well, for starters, the rest aren't straight cut, and it's the way that you change gears. So this has still got the factory, well, I'm not actually sure if they're factory, it could be aftermarket, but it still runs off what they call synchros. A dog box doesn't have synchros. I don't know what it has actually, because I've never owned one, but I just know that when you've got a dog box and everything is straight cut gears, you don't have synchros. To change a dog box, you're pretty much smashing into each gear, and if you don't smash it in, it won't go in. So you've got to be quite rough with a dog box, but with synchros it makes it a little bit easier to change gear. And especially if we look at the gears 2, 3 and 4, these are known as helical gears. So you'll see between the straight and these ones, these are slightly on the angle, which is just like factory, but these are aftermarket, so these are slightly bigger and slightly thicker. So that comboed with synchros makes the gearbox a hell of a lot easier to change than just the dog box. I'm pretty sure fifth is factory, but it possibly could be aftermarket as well. Overall, no, I haven't got the best and toughest gearbox, but I'm far from factory as well. So those of you who have owned a Subaru will know that, especially when you launch a Subaru, first gear doesn't really last that long. Even though as big as it is, just with those standard helical gears, they don't last. STI will last a little bit longer than the normal WRX, but in the end, depending on how much power your car's running, depending on how you drive, they break, and you go through quite a lot of gearboxes, just like the Mitzi boys. So happy that my first gear is a real tough gear, means I can kind of slam it a little bit harder off the line. And with 2, 3 and 4 going through the gears, yeah, I can really put hopefully I can really put this power number that I'm chasing, if I manage to get it or even get close to it, hopefully I can transfer that into the wheels, because that's what really matters. So it's okay to have all the power in the world, but if you can't get it down to the wheels, you're wasting your time. That's my opinion anyway. So comboed up with the twin plate clutch that I've got, the goodies inside this gearbox, and the LSD factory STI diff in the back, hopefully that will be a good little package to support this big number that which nowadays isn't even really big. It's big for me. This is my first real big build. Hopefully this drivetrain is enough to support the number that I'm chasing, or that I'll end up with. I am running the R180 setup, which is slightly thicker axles than the R160 setup, which is on normal WRXs. Most of the STI gear is the thicker R180 gear. So I have got that setup, but like I said, I've already blown the axle, and here in New Zealand, they're not easy to find. So no doubt that I'm going to have troubles with axles and blowing axles later on down the track, but I'll worry about that later. My first mission is just to get this car built and finished, because it's actually turning into a pain in my butt. So just want to get the engine built right, and driving on the road, and yeah, and then we'll address the axles when I need to. So yeah, that's pretty much my gearbox. So still a 5-speed, but yeah, I was real stoked to see that I've got some cool gears. Yeah, I'll call them cool gear sets inside this box. So now I know that no, it's not a broken gearbox. You can see in the gears that it is quite clean. And yeah, I'm just stoked to get this thing going again. Okay guys, so that's it for this episode. Pretty much just covered my whole drivetrain, clutch, gearbox and the rear diff. So as you can tell, I'm pretty stoked with what I've got. In the next episode, pretty much just doing an update on where the build is currently at. I'll be going over some spaces that I got made for my fuel rails, and also going over the wiring. So I've had to chuck in some more wiring for the AVCS solenoids, as I wasn't running those before on the version 7 STI heads. On those it comes with rear cam sensors, so I need to wire those in. Wiring for the drive-by-wire gear, both the throttle body and the pedal. I'm starting to get bits and pieces for the intercooler piping. So plenty more content to come. So what I need you to do is subscribe to the channel if you're keen to follow me on this build. We are coming to, I would like to think we are over the halfway mark. So yeah, starting to get real excited. When you do subscribe, it does encourage me to do more videos for you guys. So if you like I said, if you're keen to follow me on the build right through to the end, please subscribe to the channel. And other than that, we shall see you in the next episode. Ciao.